New York City is known as the melting pot, a major point of entry for immigrants. I love New York because you can walk anywhere and be surrounded with art and culture. Do you know the Filipinos are one of the largest Southeast Asian ethnic group in New York? And yet, have you visited any galleries in New York which actually featured Filipino culture and heritage? Maybe that's why people have misconceptions on who the Filipino ancestors were. Joining me today to talk about the purpose behind the Philippine Gold exhibit at Asia Society are my co-hosts Rachelle Ocampo and Cristina Pastor. Our featured guests are esteemed chair and member of the Philippine Gold Benefit Committee, CEO and philanthropist Loida Nicolas Lewis, and real estate broker Edwin Josue. I'm Jen Fior, and welcome to Makilala. Ms. Lewis, Edwin, welcome here.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure that you guys are here, and we're actually really excited. This all came about, I see a lot of the Philippine Gold on social media, and I thought it was like a formal event because everyone that posted pictures were all like glitzy, elaborate, and in like formal gown. So I was talking to Edwin, and he goes, no, it's more than that. So I kind of got curious. I actually went to the exhibit. I paid to it, and I took my bus. First time ever in my life. And but the weirdest thing is that as I was walking on Park Avenue and I saw this banner, and I saw that Philippines and then Asia Society on Park Avenue, I had this weird sense of pride. So was that like, what was one of your mission on bringing gold into New York?
Well, I saw it in Ayala Museum, and I was just blown away. Not only because of the artistry, the craft, and the excellent manufacturing, and it's not manufactured, I think it's handmade, but that it was made in the 10th, 11th, and 12th century of the Philippines before we were even Filipinas. So these were made by our Ninuno, by our ancestors, who had, I believe, a certain level of civilization, equal probably to India, to China, and to the,
Yeah, that's interesting because when I went to school like maybe 40 years ago, I didn't think we were taught that way. We were taught that our ancestors were not dressed like, adorned with gold and stuff like that.
Lucky for you, in my history class in high school, the first thing I did in my history book, go to the index and look for Philippines. You know what we had? One paragraph.
What was it about?
I think it was with the death trail, the Bataan death trail.
Death March.
One paragraph on the Philippines. How sad is that? And this is just a perfect example of something that we can change our history if we just share it.
Well, it's actually only in the 1980s that this trove of gold was found by a government worker who was doing road work. And having done it, he knew that it was valuable. So he started to collect it. And from that collection was already 20 pounds of gold. Wow. And then all over the Philippines, it started to become known. And they sold it to the Leandro and Cecilia Locsin, who they knew could afford to buy it, and who also were really known collectors. And if they don't want it, they went to Central Bank. Then Jimmy Laya was governor, who also knew the value of having this preserved for future generations. Others were taken by, people who used it for their own or who melted it and sold it as gold.
One of the interesting facts about the exhibit that I found out when I went there was that the Philippines is has the second largest gold deposit in the world.
Yeah.
So why is that not going to the economy? Why is not that helping the economy?
Well, let's go into politics.
We
were known as the sick man of Asia, but right now,
right,
under President Noynoy, we are now the rising tiger. And in fact, we have been recognized by the International Rating Agency to be investment grade, BBB. But going back to the
exhibit,
yes, it is not surprising because all of our written history were either burned, buried, or discarded when the Spaniards came. Not that they did not bring us, what we value most, our faith, but for them, anything that is not Christian is bad. So we don't have any written history except the Laguna inscription, which was in the year 1600. Okay. But, so, just judging, and then that's why I encourage everyone, Filipinos and non-Filipinos, to go to Asia Society because it is just incredibly beautiful works of art. I tell everyone, it is our King Tut. King Tutankhamen of
Yeah,
That's
Egypt.
a
that's
great
right.
analogy.
Yes, Tutankhamen of Egypt, nobody knew about it, and then they discovered it. So this is something like this, for the first time outside of the Philippines.
Miss Lewis, I just
Go ahead,
have
go
one
ahead.
point of curiosity. What was your favorite object in the exhibit?
Well, naturally, the gold band.
The gold band,
That's
yeah.
9 pounds and intricately woven.
Yeah.
And not only that, even the string. There's no string. Tiny pieces of gold became the string to connect them together. It's just incredibly, very well crafted, thought through, and made.
Wow. How about you, Edwin?
Actually, it's the Kinari. It's actually the book that you actually would like to show. This is actually a part celestial woman being, at the same time part bird. And during that time, I could interpret it as the Filipinos had already some sort of spirituality, that in us there's actually the deity or somebody up there that these our ancestors were actually going forward to,
Yeah,
So
and-
it's very meaningful. That's why I believe they made this as a cover. It's a small
Yeah,
miniature
it's a very
thing,
small item.
Yeah.
but
Really?
intricately
Yeah.
designed. So I'm really very proud of this gold exhibit.
That's right.
We invite everybody to see it.
Yes, there is what do you call this now? Something to look
Magnifying
at.
glass.
Magnifying glass,
glass.
because you will see the feathers,
Intricacies.
Yeah.
the feathers of the bird,
Of the
because it's
bird.
half bird, half human, and then it was well done.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, I was reading this and I actually saw an exhibit. But you could tell that we had trade even before the Spaniards. We participated in trading even before the Spaniards came.
Yes.
And it was chronicled in this book, which is kind of like, it's important. I mean, this actually should be the new history book. should be everybody should actually read
They
it.
actually told us this is the forgotten kingdoms of the Philippines. That's why they titled it the Forgotten Kingdoms. And, and I believe, Cristina, you actually saw the exhibit. What's your favorite part?
My favorite part of the exhibit, my favorite object
Object,
is
right.
the death mask.
Yeah.
You're gonna say
And the chastity belt.
The chastity belt.
Okay, first,
The
how do
chastity
they know it's a
cover.
chastity belt?
There's a caption.
And also, no, I think there is it's a codex book written by
Yes.
someone in
That's
the
right.
1700s or 1600s,
That's
where
right.
women were dressed in native costume, covered with necklace and earrings and bracelets,
Bangles,
including the men,
That's right.
anklets and things like that. And I think in one of the pictures was a chastity belt. And also during the Middle Ages in Europe, the women, when the men are going to the Crusades,
Yeah.
the women wear chastity belts.
Oh my gosh.
What's interesting about this exhibit is that it showed that the Filipinos were affluent
Yes.
during a time when we were not yet colonized. That really blew my mind away.
No, that we
It's
had
really-
culture, that
we have
had
culture, we have wealth.
beliefs.
We're not savages.
We are
Yes.
not that, yeah.
And we were not Indios.
Yes.
And how we were labeled that way is another topic for discussion.
Yes. So just to think about it, we were called the Pearl of the Orient. We were more than pearls. We had, gold and so many precious metals. And right now, why we are quarreling with China is that we have billion barrels of oil on the West Philippine Sea, and trillion cubic feet of natural gas. We would be second to Saudi Arabia in terms of gas and oil. So the Philippines is so rich. And I'm
That's
so
true.
glad that President Noynoy has chosen Marrojas to become the candidate so that
Lewis.
this will continue.
I have a question. Do you think this exhibit on gold is generating a lot of interest within the community? Some people have commented to me that they find it a little elitist.
Well, I don't know who said that, but if they are not willing to look into history, then they are totally wrong. In fact, the New York Times has come up with a glowing review,
That's right.
half a page in last week's Friday edition. The New Yorker, New Yorker has very, very high standard. My God, the review is terrific. They could not say enough about it. And then the local newspaper of weekly of Manhattan, Our Town, Chelsea News, Upper West Side, they have also another review and saying, hey, you've come to see this.
Well, aside from the exhibit, you also have events. Is it every Friday? You have
Yeah,
something
we
going
actually
on.
have every Friday food bars that everybody is welcome to join. And just to let you know that Fridays were free. So you can
Very
actually, at 6
important.
o'clock, we actually have food bars that will showcase different Filipino restaurants. So that will be a good treat for everybody.
And the
Filipinos.
and the food is free, or
No, you have to pay.
okay.
You have to pay.
But it's
Yes.
great that you're highlighting not just one Filipino caterer or chef. You're really trying to promote the upper level of Filipino
Filipinos.
food and culture. So it's
Exactly.
beautiful.
Exactly.
Yes, and during the entire season for the 4 months from September up to January 3, their cafe features lumpia,
Yeah,
adobo,
yeah, that's right.
Philippine,
Pancit, yeah.
pancit, so that Americans who come there will know that there is other Asian food instead of just Japanese or Thai
Yeah.
or Vietnamese.
The Filipinos have really taken over Asia society for 4 months. And I think we should take advantage of that exposure to think that it's being done in New York too.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we actually, there were off-site events that Asia Society had already put it out, like the Spolarium and Ryan Kayabyab. And we actually have Justice Carpio who's coming to town to explain about the West Philippine Sea on October 6th, that everybody's invited to join because this will be a very good event for everybody.
Why
There's
is the West Philippine Sea being lumped together with the Philippine Gold?
Well, it's actually it's part of the history and cultural thing that we Filipinos should be knowing about, And other than that, we actually have other programs that we actually be putting up this October, like the Mayi Theater will be producing an alamat. It's a folklore story about the gold. And then we actually have a very famous Filipina singer, Grace Nono, who will be doing some ethnic sounds, and this will be a good showcase of our cultural heritage,
So how would you
In November,
encourage-
In October,
in November
yeah,
we're going to
yeah.
have Monday and Tuesday or weekly Filipino cinema by independents,
Oh.
by the
Indie
indies. We have
films.
our own indie films, so it will be shown the entire month of November. So please look at asiasociety.org to get all of these programs.
I think what would be great for how the community can actually get involved and really advocate and push for going to Asia Society is like setting up field trips. If we collaborate with community organizations and say, look, on Friday, when it's free, we could all go, all of the members should go on this Friday. All the members for this organization should go on this Friday.
Because
I just feel
because
like-
exhibit's only
Yeah.
until January.
Until January.
That's right.
3.
Yes,
January
very
3.
right.
How would you encourage the second generation, like to
We
come
actually
and
have the
see?
group tours that you can explain.
Oh.
Yes, group tours are available if you go and any number, and you hire a docent or a tour
Tour
guide for $35. Then the fee instead of 12 turns to 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Which is good, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. So
Incredible,
you don't
right?
have to go on Friday.
Not only that, if you're a little bit well off, you actually have a $20, entrance fee, and that covers actually a drink and something like in the Garden Cafe, plus 10% for purchases at the Asia Society store.
Date night, guys.
But why would a second generation be excited to go see the gold exhibit? If you have to talk to them right now and tell them, like, why should they go in there and see for themselves?
Well, it's not Lady Gaga, but I think if they are just conscious of who they are, okay, just by the color of our skin, we are not white. But aside from that, what else do we have? Then we have this ancient civilization that has vanished now, and this is the remnants of it. And so they should just come and see and be amazed that our ninuno, our ancestors, had that kind of level of civilization to produce this gold. I think it's important for their own self-respect and therefore own self-identity to see that we were not savages. Our ancestors didn't live on trees. We were, not half naked. But there was a system of civilization that has lost now.
And for myself, I believe that in each one of us flow the veins in our blood, that we are noble, we are all Maharlikas, that we actually came from a generation that we are actually knowledgeable of whatever is happening within
Oh, I like
us.
that.
Something
that.
like, it's actually something like, I'm proud. As a matter of fact, when I saw the gold, I saw the connection of my past to the present. And a lot of Filipinos, especially the third generation Philams, were asking, how can I connect? And for me, connection with this gold is already something that, oh my God, my ancestors, my nunos were actually noble, and I could actually sense a feeling of, of belongingness to become a Filipino.
What do you think, Rachelle?
Oh wow! So speaking for as second gen,
I mean, you're not the typical second generation.
no, definitely not typical. I actually did see it first in the Philippines through the PhilPro program at the Ayala Foundation, Ayala Museum. So it was just groundbreaking, like seeing the gold, how much gold there was, and so something to be
Actually,
so proud of.
1,000.
1,000.
In that
Yeah.
Ayala Museum, 1,000 pieces. And these are the best 120 pieces that is here in Asia Society.
Well,
so
would
it
you
will
like-
take one round trip to go to the Philippines to see it again.
That's right.
So whereas here, it will take only a bus ride.
Exactly.
Would
There
you like
should
to
be
talk
no
about the
excuse.
logistics of bringing the gold over?
Yeah.
It's very expensive, and I have to thank.
Logistics in terms of security,
That's right.
cost,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
and
I have to thank,
everything else that went with it.
Fernando, Zobel de Ayala, and the other co-chair, Doris Magsaysayho, because they raised the entire money for presenting it here, not only for that beautiful encasement in a dark room with all the lights and the videotape, but also for the security, for the insurance, for the
Insurance,
transport, for the, just keeping it properly packaged to go to come over here and to go back there.
Oh my gosh.
It's quite a lot. I don't want to mention money, but it's quite a lot. Yes.
Was it worth it though? Is it the project that's worth that much?
Well,
effort?
that's why we work so hard to raise money among the Filipino community here, because I believe that aside from the gold, we should also show our artistry, our world-class artists in opera, in cinema, in theater, in dance, in musical instruments. And that's why, the first Sunday, we had a rondalia from Boston who came here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we had a show of, the condiments of the Philippines, but presented in a very contemporary way.
And it's titled Langhapin, Lasapin, and Namnamin, Pag-ibig.
Which
So
means-
it's- which means breathe, savor, taste,
I
love.
thought you were talking about food.
So it's actually more a little bit of comedy and drama, but showcasing the beautiful voices and angelic voices of
Yeah.
the best of New York sopranos and tenors and baritones, so that we'll be able to be proud of.
I believe one of the curators of the exhibit is a Filipina, Florina Baker. Miss Lewis,
Yes.
would you like to say something about
Yes. Nina Capistrano
yeah?
Baker. Her father was one of they call Dirty Dozen mining, geologists or engineers,
Yes,
mining engineer, who mapped where all the precious metals of the Philippines are. And it's still being used now. And what is so wonderful about it is that it's not only in Butuan where they found this, it's in Surigao, it's in Sorsogon, it's in the Mountain Province, all over our gold. That's why when I visited Spain and went to the churches, there it is, all over the churches. The gold that was taken from
That's
the
right.
Philippines, from Peru, from Mexico. So the colonization has good and bad points, but that's history. So for us who are Filipinos, we should go to Asia Society, look at this beautiful gold exhibit, and come out saying, I'm proud, I'm Filipino.
And one thing nice about Nina is that when she was working on that book, she was using the map of her father. So this project has both an intimate, personal connection to her. And she didn't know that. She just realized that
She didn't know she was
didn't
using
know
her dad's map.
until she was told that that's the only available map. And
Really?
it was done by her father.
Wow.
And she
Yes.
found that out
Yes.
when she was doing it.
Yes,
Kilabot,
yes,
no?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
very nice.
Yeah. And she was saying it's just too bad that her father has died and did
Right,
not
exactly.
see how it's being shown at the Ayala Museum for all generations. And I just want to say also that I respect the Zobel the Ayala family, because they could have just said, well, this belongs to us, we bought it, and we can transfer it to our children and our children's children.
Yeah.
But instead, they donated it to the nonprofit Ayala Museum so that it belongs to the
people.
Filipino.
Filipino people.
Yes, for all generations. So that's why I encourage those who do not want to spend a round-trip ticket to go to Manila in 2016 because it ends on January 3 to come and visit this. For $12, you can come in. Children under 16 are free, and senior citizen has $10. And as I said, if you are going to go with a $35 docent or tour guide,
Yeah.
then you pay only $5.
$5.
Yes.
Well, have you actually organized with any other community groups to actually get these tours?
Yeah, we actually have the Philippine Consulate General helping us out
okay.
in actually contacting Connecticut, Boston, and other nearby, states to really have all the Filipino, non-Filipino alike to really come to Asia Society and experience the gold.
And I think they're also organizing a tour for children. I would love to cover that. Children looking at Philippine Gold.
Yeah.
Well, I have
Yeah.
asked Manhattan, what is it now?
Marymount School.
Marymount School of
okay.
New York, because the headmistress is Concepcion Alvar, and she has children from kindergarten all the way to high
Yeah.
school, and I gave her the terms of coming in.
That's right.
Children under 16 are free, so it's only the teachers, and they have budget for that.
That's
Yes.
right.
That's the best part. Show the little ones.
Yes, yes.
And we should show that we have the force of the Filipino Americans in this part of states that because the last time that they actually generated so much, the exhibit generated about 30,000, right, from the Chinese. But now we are about 400,000 strong here, getting 10% of that, about 40,000. At least we could even surpass the Chinese visitors in Asia Society.
Wow,
that's a good
I didn't know that's the goal.
That's the main goal, is to be the Chinese.
That's the Chinese.
Yes, actually, Ambassador Quisha in Washington, D.C. and his wife, Vicky Quisha, are organizing buses. I think 3 buses to come over here during the course of this exhibit.
See, that's what we need to do. We just need to start organizing with these groups.
Yes,
That's right, yeah.
and I've asked the JCs, Philippine JCs, Ateneo alumni, the Scholasticans, the Theresians, UP alumni, and the different groups, the Pag-asa, to get their people together and come and see it as a group.
Yeah.
What I'm curious about this exhibit is, about the gold, is that how come the Europeans did not take advantage of the fact that we had gold in the Philippines?
Are you kidding? They took advantage. They took it all out. Whatever they can find, they brought to Europe.
There were supposed to be more, not just this thing.
Yes, they are more.
Really?
Yes,
Oh.
as I said, when I went to the church in Burgos, the Compostela church, the entire altar, the side altars are covered with gold. That came from the colonies, and one of the colony is the Philippines.
There's distinct craftsmanship that you could tell that gold came from the Philippines.
No, all I know is that how come all of this, the entire church is covered with gold? Well, Spain was #1 country in the 1500s, 1600s. So
Oh, I love the conversation to keep going and going. But before we end, is there one thing that you want to tell everybody before we close?
well, you're not a Filipino if you don't visit Asia Society.
Oh my gosh, is that a threat?
Talk about pressure.
We have to be proud of our heritage, and so visit us, and it's really, you'll never be sorry to be visiting this gold
Asia
in the
Society.
Asia Society, right?
It's on 70th Street and Park Avenue.
Any new projects after this one?
No. The next project is electing Marojas as president.
You totally let her into that. Totally let her into that.
I think that is more,
Thank you. Thank you for
that is
guesting
more
us.
ambitious than this gold exhibit.
I'm really appreciative that you guys
Thank you.
took time to be here with your busy schedule, to be with our first taping in this wonderful studio that we have, Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Edwin, without that conversation,
Thank
we
you.
were talking about oh really? I didn't even know about it. This would not have happened.
And I
And-
invited Miss Lewis here.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you.
Rachelle, any quick words?
Just to encourage everyone to go. It's not even just about being
It's over.
proud. It's just telling people that we have this culture, that we're not so different from everyone else. It's something
To be
something
proud
that second gens should definitely look into.
Cristina?
Oh, come visit the Asia Society. If you haven't been to Asia Society, and I know a lot in the community have not been there, now is the time to go.
When you're at Asia Society, make sure you grab this book because you will learn so much from this one. I did. I mean, there are stories about when someone gets buried, covered with gold mask. Probably only Egyptians do that. And then religion. There's a religion about not Christianity. So I don't want to give you the news about it because you have to grab this book and learn more about our culture and heritage. And the last page of that one, it was a saying, a Tagalog proverb. I think it's from Jose Rizal. It says, ang hindi marunong lumingon sa pinanggalingan ay hindi makakarating sa paroroonan. See, I learn new things every time I'm on the show. And I hope you do too. It's actually amazing that every time we have a featured guest, we actually learn so much. So from my experience with the Philippine Gold Treasures of Forgotten Kingdom, I have to realize that every artifact from our ancestors' past represent a story, a memory, an experience, a foundation for us to instill upon the next generation. To the production crew and management of Manhattan Neighborhood Network, thank you for our new home and growing family. This is Jen Fuhrer. Thank you for watching. Until next time, sa uulitin, here at Makilala.